Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about a marketing approach that is negative versus one that's positive. So this comes about because I was chatting with somebody through DM, I think on Facebook, I can't remember, it was a while ago. I've been making notes whenever you guys talk to me, and then I kind of figure out when I can talk about certain things. But anyways, and they were asking me about how they could basically tell this place that they wanted to solicit, work from, that their photo sucked. Basically, they were like, why using an iPhone is terrible, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And what I said was, I think the better approach is to not tell them why what they have is bad, but rather what you can bring is good. This isn't actually the most popular way to market. In fact, the negative is a lot more popular. So you can do that. I've just found that for me personally, I try to approach things in a positive manner. So that's number one. But also, you don't know how they feel about what they've gotten. Maybe they know that the pictures that they've been using aren't very good, but then again, it could be their best friend that's shooting them. Maybe they're shooting them themselves. Maybe they really like the way they look, right? So you coming to them and telling them that their pictures are terrible could immediately put a bad taste in their mouth. I get that that's, again, commonly used in advertising and stuff. You see it all the time. They suck and we're better. But the reality is that you can take away the they suck part, because if you do the we're better part well enough, you don't have to say that. They'll realize it, right? Oh, using, this camera or lighting, let's say, will give us, shots that we can see all the detail and we'll have separation and we'll be able to light up the people, and you explain and you show them good photos. This is going to make a big difference. And this is whether you're approaching somebody for a portrait shoot or whatever. Like, let's say you go to some website, a corporate site, and you see that they all have clearly iPhone shots or whatever against some wall in the office, for their corporation, or maybe the lawyers or real estate officers or whatever. And approaching them and showing them how, like, having a cleaner background or having more detail, or having light that shapes the face so it doesn't look so mugshotty or whatever. That can actually be a much better way to do it, because hopefully when we educate our client, they'll see why a photo is better than another. I mean, and if they don't from you showing them the better examples, they won't from you telling them it sucks either. In fact, what you'll probably end up doing is creating more of a hostile situation as soon as you're starting out, and that's not where you want to be, right? You want to come in as somebody who's helping them, because you're trying to solicit them for work, right? So you need to be showing them that you can help them and that you're somebody they want to work with. Coming in negative, to me, isn't the right way to do it. Now, I get that, again, it's popular, I keep saying that, but you do see it in TV commercials and stuff. But I think when we're photographers, we're not selling this like brand, like of peanut butter. You're selling yourself. So how you present yourself is super important. And I mean, maybe you are a jerk and you come in and you go, you suck. I mean, maybe that's your personality. I guess that's fine then. I wouldn't want to work with you personally. And I can say that when I was first starting, I felt the negative thing to be a good idea. And I even did it a little bit. I think we all do, because you're looking at magazines, you're like, God, their editorial sucks. Like, they don't have anything good. Like, my work's way better. Yeah, but maybe the person that's the art director for the magazine likes that, right? Doesn't mean they won't like you too, but by telling them one thing that they like sucks and that you're better is just not the right approach. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about what I think is the right approach. So let's say that, we'll make a fictitious company. Let's say, since I went that way already, let's say that you're at the bus station and you see a picture, an advertisement for, let's say, the law offices of blah, 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 right? And you can see that there's a picture of this lawyer, or maybe multiple lawyers or whatever, and you can see the quality of the images is not that great. But you can also see it and say, okay, I'm at a bus stop at a bench, and there's a poster of these people here, which means that they have money to spend, clearly, because they're advertising, they're trying to push themselves forward. So how do we approach those people and tell them that we can do a better job? The approach really needs to be, ideally you've shot other lawyers and you can be like, this is what I've done before, or at least similar shots. Because that's the thing. And if you haven't, then you need to go grab your, uncle that looks like a lawyer, or aunt, or niece, or whoever looks like a lawyer in your family, and photograph them, right? So you have something to show, right? And again, you don't need to go to them and say, hey, I saw your bench and it was bad. What you need to do is approach them and say, hey, I've heard a lot about your law offices. I'm a photographer. This is my work. I think, if you're in need of photography services, if anybody new joins your group, or you guys update I don't know how often you update your photos, maybe like a lot of times people like to do it like once a year so they stay current, and you kind of pitch it like that. It's not like, okay, yeah, your picture sucks, so I'm going to replace it. But let's say they bring in a new lawyer, right? So now a new person joins the firm. When they hire you to photograph that new person, right, assuming that they want to spend money and you've made a good pitch, they're going to see that you're doing, you're going to come in with equipment and you're going to light it, it's going to look good. Or you, in the preliminary conversations, you mention that and you say, hey, you know what, I'm already here. And, basically the first one I'm charging you, I don't know, $1,000 for, because that's kind of, I got to come and set up and this and that, but each additional person I'll only charge you $250 or whatever, however your rates are going to work out, because I'm already here and I'm already spending the day. So once I'm here, it's easier for me to just shoot. And if you guys need to update your pictures, here's your opportunity, and this then might get some of the people who realize that they don't really like the shot of themselves to invest in another shot at the time. Worst case scenario, you shoot the one person and it's way better, right? I mean, this is the whole point. You're supposed to be better than what they're getting. They're going to see the difference. They can't help but see it when it's next to other shots that are better. So that's how you want to approach it, right? You don't want to come in and say what you have sucks, what needs to be replaced. What you want to do is come in and be like, because clearly they buy photography or they use photography. They probably shot themselves. They understand, at least on some level, they need photos. Maybe they didn't know how to find a photographer. They didn't take the time and effort to look for it. Probably they went to some advertising company who said, oh, you guys need pictures of yourselves. And they're probably more like a company that sells space versus one that's actually an advertising company, and they didn't have like an art director. They probably just had some standard person build the typical, park bench ad or whatever. They didn't have an actual art director. And again, that's something that if you are good at and you have that skill, you can then add to something that you can offer them. When you do the new photos, you can be like, I also do graphic design. I could throw together a quick design for you guys as a sample, see what you guys think. And you can add extra work there, because I know a lot of photographers, myself included, we do things like design and all the ways from basic, stuff all the ways up to Illustrator and that kind of stuff. And you can throw that in too if that's part of your business model. So you've got to kind of think about that when you're approaching somebody, right? No matter what they're doing, right? Now let's say that it's a local store and you don't see anything in the store. It's empty, right? Now you're just approaching showing that you have good stuff, right? Maybe you go to a store that sells like name brand, right? As well as some of the, whatever, off-brand stuff or things that you might not see. So you walk into the store and they do have some posters and stuff, and they're for like, big brands like Levi's or something. Again, you can go in there and be like, oh, wow, it's awesome. You guys sell this local brand and that local brand, but I don't see any, pictures for it. You probably would get more sales on this stuff if you guys had pictures. I'm a photographer. I could shoot stuff like those Levi's posters that you have, or like the whatever, to make your store have these local brands too, because, whatever. I'm sure that you're probably making more money off the local brands than you are off the Levi's, as far as per sale, because that's the way it works. And again, you want to approach positively what you can add to them. What am I adding to what you have? Not what you have is bad. Let me help you move forward. Let's work together to move forward, right? This is how we do it, right? We're looking, we're adding, we're helping them. That's really the service that we provide, right? We're providing them with great images so that their business can move forward. And and if it's not a business, if it's a dance company or whatever, or a dance recital school or whatever, still the parents say same thing. They're going to want great shots of their kids, and you don't have to tell them, hey, yeah, the shot that you took with your iPhone from the audience during the recital is crap. They know it's not great, right? They'll inherently know that when you go and shoot better shots. So you go there and you're like, hey, you're having a recital. Is it okay if I come and cover it, with my professional gear, and then we can make a card or something to offer, I'll put the pictures up on a website or whatever, and if parents or you guys want prints, you can order them from there, right? This is a way now, again, you're breaking in, because I've had this conversation with several people now ever since I did my other video. Sometimes as much as I'll tell you in another video, never work for free. Sometimes you got to do something for free because, but you're not actually doing it for free. What you're doing is you're going in with enough confidence that you know that if you shoot this event, that you will get great pictures, and those great pictures will be sold to the parents, that somebody will buy them because they're good. And if you're not confident enough in yourself that you can do that, then that's not the line of work for you, right? You shouldn't be doing that stuff. But if you are, right, if you're good at it and you know you can do it, right, then let's say that you do it and you make a bunch of sales. You could then next time be like, hey, you know what, I know it was really popular, you know, and everybody liked it, you know, I'm going to have to charge you a day rate or whatever to come in as well as the prints. Although I don't know that I would do that because honestly, if you're selling enough prints that makes you want to go back, then you're probably good. Like that's what you're shooting it for. You're shooting it for the prints. Because the idea is that if you are doing a great job, people will buy them. So that's really it. You know, it's like you need to think about that. So that's one approach, right? It's the, I'm going to go to your recital and shoot. Because remember, it's not just those pictures. Let's say that you shoot the recital and, you know, there's a lot of different approaches to it. You could shoot just from the audience. If they let you, you could set up a little backdrop backstage and make quick photos of each student while they're there. All this stuff is going to get you connected to the parents who are your ultimate customer, right? The school itself is probably not the customer, the parents are. So that's really where you want to be. So that's how I would approach that kind of thing. You know, you got to look at like, what's my backdoor into getting into where the people that are going to pay me are going to see my work, and how do I go about showing them that the work is worth paying for? So, and I think the way to do that is to offer positive vibes, for lack of a better word. Because really, if you know that you have something great, you know they're going to buy it, right? And if you're offering a great service, people will buy it if you can show it to them. So being positive with people to get in with them, to allow them to show you, or for you to show them, I should say, your work is going to be better for you long term. You may get some people right away by going and being like, oh, you know, I saw your picture and it was terrible, you know, I could do a way better job. But better to just show them your work and show them, be like, hey, I see that you use photography for your posters. I don't know when you're planning on shooting the next ones, but here's my work if you would consider me. You know, they'll see your work is better if it really is. And there you go, you'll have the job. Things take time. It's about building relationships. Long term, as a photographer, it's going to take, you're going to talk to tons of people. Only a handful of those people are going to actually pay you. But those people that do will become the springboard that will lead to more and more work. So you need to leave them with a really good taste in their mouth. You want them to remember you positively and tell their friends when their friends talking about, you know, they need photography or whatever. You don't want them to be like, oh yeah, the pictures are great, but the guy was kind of a douche, you know. You just don't want that. You know, what you really want is the experience was awesome. Because honestly, most people can't tell the difference on an extreme level. Meaning that if you shot it with a cheaper camera, let's say a Canon Rebel, whatever, versus the Canon 5D Mark IV, and you were super awesome with them, and you worked with them, and you were super nice, and you had used a kit lens, and the pictures weren't quite as sharp, but they came out really great, and there was real true good emotions, and things were lit up well. Or the guy that had the most expensive equipment and rushed them in and out because they had another client right away, and they you know, their pictures are sharper and bigger or whatever. But you know what? They're going to remember you because you were nice, and they're going to want to work with you more because positive stuff leads to more positive stuff. So that's my take on this. I don't know how you guys normally approach. Let me know if this is something you guys do, if you've done the negative thing and it's worked for you, or if you've done it and it's burned you and you don't like it. You know, let me know. I'm curious to hear the other side of it, of course. But of course, my general vibe is always stay positive because this is amazing. It's amazing that people will pay us to do a thing that we love. You know, no matter what that thing is. Some people love, you know, gardening or whatever, and you can get paid to work in a gardening shop. We love photography or filmmaking, and we get paid to do this, and this is amazing, you know. So not everybody gets to do what they love to do, so approach it in a positive manner because you should be happy you're doing it. Okay, so if it's your first time here, please subscribe or ring the bell. I guess if it's not your first time and you haven't subscribed yet, you could still do that. Anyways, I'll talk to you later, and see you next time.